is we have confirmed that Iran did have a missile launch, a medium-sized missile launch testing on January 29th on Sunday. That is absolutely unacceptable, and we wanted to bring that, and we wanted to do it urgently. I will tell the people across the world that is something we should be alarmed about. The United States is not naive. We are not going to stand by. You will see us call them out as we said we would, and you're also going to see us act accordingly. We are committed to making sure that they understand this is not anything we will ever accept.
بهانه‌ای نشه برای بازی‌های سیاسی که ممکنه دولت جدید ایالات متحده که متاسفانه با سابقه ننگین مانع شدن از ورود افرادی که ویزای قانونی اون کشور رو در اختیار داشتن فعلا دارای یک وضعیت بسیار نامناسبی در سطح بین‌المللی هست، از این موضوع سوء استفاده بکنه برای دامن زدن به یک تنش جدید.
Iran has reportedly conducted its first ballistic missile test under Donald Trump's presidency. A US official claimed on Monday that the launch occurred a day earlier at a well-known site test outside Semnan, east of Tehran. Speaking on the condition of anonymity, the official noted that the medium-range ballistic missile flew 1,010 kilometers before exploding. He added that the last time this type of missile was test-launched was in July 2016. The launch is an apparent violation of a United Nations Security Council resolution calling upon Iran not to carry out activity related to ballistic missiles. However, Iran claims such tests are legitimate because they're not designed to carry a nuclear warhead.
The Iranian government has carried out a medium-range missile test launch. According to US officials, it took place on Sunday at a site east of Tehran. The missile was one which had been previously tested. The White House says it's investigating whether the launch violates a United Nations resolution calling on Iran not to carry out activities related to ballistic missiles capable of delivering nuclear weapons. In 2015, Tehran agreed to strict constraints on its atomic program in exchange for an end to economic sanctions that had throttled the nation's economy. It's a deal which President Donald Trump has called the worst ever negotiated.
The Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif has warned the new U.S. administration against creating new tensions over Tehran's legitimate efforts at reinforcing its defense capabilities.
We hope that Iran's defense programs, which definitely are not subject to the UN Security Council's Resolution 2231 and not related to the JCPOA, will not turn into a pretext for political games aimed at creating new tensions by the new US administration.
Speaking at a joint press conference with the visiting French counterpart Jean-Marc Ayrault, Zarif said all parties to the JCPOA, including France and the previous U.S. administration, have attested that Iran's missile tests have nothing to do with the nuclear agreements. Iran's top diplomat added that the country's missiles are not designed to carry nuclear warheads.
We have announced that none of our ballistic missiles are designed to carry nuclear warheads. We will never use our weapons against other countries except in our defense.
The United States has accused Iran of recently testing ballistic missiles in defiance of the UN Resolution 2231 and has called for urgent talks of the Security Council on the issue. Iran has not confirmed that it has recently conducted a missile test. The row comes in the wake of a controversial executive order by the U.S. President Donald Trump, which bars citizens from Iran and 6 other Muslim-majority countries from entering the U.S. Mohammad Marandi is a professor at the University of Tehran who joins us on the phone. To begin with, Professor, Iran has not confirmed this news, but yet the Security Council, at the request of Israel, is going to convene a session, even though the missile cannot carry a nuclear warhead. It almost doesn't make sense.
Well, it only makes sense if you look at it from the perspective of the United States, which allows the Israeli regime to attack countries, neighboring countries with impunity, and which allows the Israeli regime to have nuclear warheads without not only do they not pay a price, but they also get major support from the United States every year through the U.S. budget. I think the important thing, though, to note is that, of course, the Iranians have never confirmed that any missile test was carried out, but that's not really the point. Iran has the right to carry out missile tests. Its missile deterrence is what protects the nation. Iran is one of the few countries in the region that remain safe and secure, and that is because Iran's defense capabilities and intelligence capabilities are above and beyond those of other regional countries. As you pointed out, and as Dr. Zarif pointed out, the nuclear agreement, any missile defense capability that is created by Iran is not at all in violation of the JCPOA, nor is it in violation of any Security Council resolution. So if Iran were to back down, that would basically allow that would be a form of appeasement. The United States would then go on and put pressure on Iran to back down on other issues. So it's obvious that the Iranians under no circumstances will relinquish their rights to improving their defense capabilities.
Okay, thank you for that. Professor Mohammad Morandi, professor at the University of Tehran there.
The EU, the European Union, reiterates its concern about Iran's missile program and calls upon Iran to refrain from activities which deepen mistrust, such as ballistic missiles tests. The EU expects Iran to fulfill all of its international obligations, including UN Security Council Resolution 2231. The Iranian ballistic missile program was not part of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, hence the tests are not a violation to it. The tests are inconsistent with the resolution, UN Security Council Resolution 2231. Whether it constitutes a violation is for the Security Council to determine.
Anything else for the day? Yes, James, second go.
Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif says the country's missile program is not designed to deliver nuclear weapons. Zarif said Iran's missile program is not related to the nuclear agreement between Tehran and the P5+1 group of countries, and therefore not subject to the UN resolution regarding the accord. The Russian Foreign Ministry also said Iran's ballistic missile tests do not contravene the UN resolution. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov stressed that, quote, such actions, if they took place, do not breach the resolution. Ryabkov's comment comes after the United States accused Iran of recently testing ballistic missiles in defiance of the UN resolution. Washington requests emergency UN consultations on the issue. Iran has not confirmed that it has recently conducted a missile test. Director of Sharaqah Institute of Middle Eastern Studies, Ms. Catherine Shakhtam, joins us now from the British capital, London. Ms. Shakhtam, walk us through the recent comments made by Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif, who spoke of Iran's defensive missile program and how it has no relation to the implementation of the JCPOA.
Look, you need to understand this kind of comments within, there's a bigger narrative here where, a lot of chatter has been going on in regards to Iran's nuclear program and the nuclear deal that was brokered last year. And a lot of people are trying to basically angle this and play this in a way which is negative towards Iran and to really portray Iran as being a belligerent power, which of course we know is absolutely not true and not actually in keeping with reality. So I think the desire here is to not only portray Iran as a belligerent power, but to try to somehow infer that Iran doesn't have the sovereign right to defend its border. And of course, having a functional military and being able to defend your borders and actually act a deterrent against potential threatening foreign powers is a sovereign right that any nation should possess. And I would argue, in fact, that Western capitals have actually implemented and enacted this right quite violently and quite, brutally towards others. So it's very hypocritical to, again, grandstand against Iran and keep bashing Iran for doing what other peoples are doing, what other countries are claiming for themselves, when in fact it has never been aggressive towards any nation. I mean, I don't actually recall Iran going to war with anybody other than in self-defense. And this is something, again, that Western capitals cannot actually claim for themselves. So I think there's a very fine line in between, Iran being willing to play the game of the international community and actually show, good faith in demonstrating that, in fact, Iran is not interested in developing nuclear weapon when it comes to their military program, but all they want to do is just to secure their technological advancements, as they should, and they have the right to. But you can't, use one nuclear deal, and you can't use what the international think, the fact that the international community think it has a hold on Iran, through sanctions and whatnot, to actually dictate what policy Tehran should follow. Again, I'm going back to this idea of national sovereignty. Tehran is very much entitled to its political future, and however it wants to conduct its affairs, just as long as it's in keeping with international law. And this particular case, I don't think that the law was violated. And I think that we need to be very careful about how we interpret international law and not look at it through the lens of the political, because in this case, then it is bias and prejudice by definition. So I think that Russia understands this because, of course, it has suffered great bias, and it understands the need for countries such as Iran to actually act and develop their military so that they could, offer some stability in the region and actually act a deterrent, towards other more dangerous powers who are in fact at war right now with foreign nations. So again, very interesting that, it's always Iran, Iran, Iran. What about Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia today is sitting with actually more weapons and a bigger air force than the UK, for example. I found this interesting. Nobody's talking about them. How come? What about Saudi Arabia's nuclear ambitions? We know they're real. What about Israel's nuclear ambition? We know they're actually very real and actually in existence as we speak right now. So why is it about Iran that bothers the US so much and bothers the international community so much, if not the fact that Iran has actually sat independent from the world community and actually acted sovereign in its border without attacking anybody and actually acting a preserver of international law and sovereign nationality across the region? Again, interesting that, it's always about this one power, which is actually acting, I would say, a calming influence in the region, that everyone keeps, accusing of belligerence and other nefarious agendas, when it's not the fact. I mean, reality speaks differently.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shakdam, Director of Shafarna Institute of Middle Eastern Studies. Ms. Catherine Shakdam joining us from the British capital, London.